Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Welcome to the Astrology Weekly Podcast. Happy full moon in Capricorn. So on July 21st at 6:17 p.m. Eastern Time, we're having a full buck moon in the zodiac sign Capricorn. What's interesting is that this full moon is happening at the 29th degree. So it's time to close out some unhealthy patterns and cycles in our lives. And it's time to do so in a very grand fashion. As you know, the 29th degree aligns with zodiac sign Leo. So it's going to be bold no matter what. This is a season of new beginnings, and it's either going to be a new beginning to a better life for ourselves or the beginning of the end for some of us. Either way, whether we like it or not, change is coming. And whether we are willing to learn the karmic lessons from the past so we can evolve into a better version of ourselves, or if we're still so self hating that we're not willing to look at the past and incorporate new lessons so we can make better decisions, there will be a brutal awakening coming our way. There's so much happening with this transit, okay? So I'm going to try to move through them rather quickly so we can get to the actual impact for each zodiac sign. So today, on Friday, we're having the moon conjunct Pluto. As you know, Pluto is the ruler of zodiac sign Scorpio. What Pluto brings is challenges, okay? In astrology, there are two planets that we consider to be negative planets, and those are Mars and Pluto. So Pluto comes to take away from us, okay? This is why Scorpio is constantly surrounded by drama and chaos, is because they're constantly having things taken from them. The universe constantly challenges their perception of their desires, challenges what their attachment to stability, their resistance to change. So Pluto basically comes to get us to question how conditioned are we to the physical realm, and what are some of the things that we're too attached to in the physical realm that are keeping us from having a deeper connection with the spirit world. Because remember, we are all spirit beings that are in a human body having a human experience, so we can learn spiritual lessons that allow us to evolve into a better version of ourselves. And a better version of ourselves is a version that is more loving towards us and others. There's so much happening with the moon. We're having moon square Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. As you know, Aquarius is the most rebellious zodiac sign, right along with Aries, right? We have moon trine Saturn as well, and Chiron. And we also have moon square Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. So what we're talking about here is a lot of rebellious, chaotic, masculine, violent, destructive energy that this full moon is bringing. The good thing about this is that this is really a continuation of any unfinished business that started for us back in the spring. Remember, in the spring, we had the cardinal grand cross when all the cardinal signs were being deeply affected to make changes to their lives. Whatever hasn't been finished, this is our opportunity to finish it. So it's going to be a lot of karmic endings, a lot of new beginnings. And because it's happening in Capricorn, which Capricorn rules the collective, much like Aquarius, this is going to be a grand purging session for all of us. We also have Aries and Chiron that are both in Aries, again, rebellious energy, and they're squaring the full moon. So what that means is that inconsequential of how we feel about the changes that are coming, they are still coming, because a square in astrology is like a gridlock. It means a reckoning. It's kind of like an unmovable object. The themes here are to be brave, to be bold, don't lose your dignity, love yourself, be authentic, be patient, practice self-compassion, use common sense, be responsible for your life, be the leader of your life. Saturn retrograde is also going on in the midst of all of this. All of this Saturnian energy. And we also have Neptune retrograde, both of them happening in the sign of Pisces in tropical astrology. And Pisces is gelling very well with Cancer being at the sun right now. So, if you're somebody who naturally likes to self reflect and doesn't have a problem acknowledging when you're wrong and who wants to constantly learn more about themselves so they can be a better human being, this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for you to have a lot of increased awareness about things that you've done in the past that really worked against your own evolution in life, which is really what it's about. It's about growth, evolution, learning from our mistakes, and making better decisions, okay? Who is going to be the most deeply affected? It's going to be rising sun and moon in Capricorn, and it's also going to be people who have rising sun and moon at the cardinal degrees or at the cardinal zodiac signs. So that would be Capricorn and her sister Cancer, Libra and her sister Aries. So look at your natal chart and look for Capricorn degrees in your chart, and you would notice, or other cardinal degrees, you would notice those areas are going to be impacted. Now let's dive into how this is going to impact each of the rising signs. If you're Capricorn, you're going to be going through a major awakening in the area of your ego, your self-perception, your self-worth, your abilities and how you've been capitalizing best on them or not. If you've been playing small, it's time for you to, show out and pop out and let people know who you really are. And if you've been doing too much, it's time for you to really work on yourself inside, because Capricorn only does too much whenever inside they do not feel stable. So, this is all about inner work for you. It's about reestablishing a sense of identity that is not tied to things that can be taken from you. It's not about things. That's not where real power is. Real power comes from connection to divinity and knowing that the God that is perfect and without flaws made you. So, there is greatness in you because you come from greatness. So, if a Capricorn is not spiritually connected, they're going to be facing some things right now that bring them back to God. As you know, that's all the karmics do. That's all Scorpio does. That's all Capricorn does. And that's all Aquarius does. They bring you back to the truth, to the light, and to love. So if a Capricorn is self-hating, this is going to be an opportunity for them to see the ways in which they are self-hating. And this is a chance to reset. Time to get a new wardrobe, a new haircut, a new skincare routine, a new way of being. It's time to start seeing yourself differently, both as a person that is in the physical realm and as a spirit being, so you can be more connected to your emotions, which is generally something that Capricorn struggles with. Moving on to the second house in Sagittarius. So if you're Sagittarius rising, for you, it's going to be opportunities to reflect on, resources, money. How are you managing your money, your relationships, your assets? Are there new ways for you to bring more assets into your life that you have, neglected or underplayed in the past, or that you have, kind of risk for no reason? Have you lost relationships because of your own bad behavior? This is an opportunity for you to observe ways that you've lost relationships and lost money because of your actions, and an opportunity for you to choose some new actions. Now, if you've been playing small here, the reverse is also true, which is how do we capitalize best on how we make money? How do we find new connections? How do we make new relationships so we can get access to more resources? Remember, the second house is ruled by Taurus. So, Taurus being ruled by Venus, it's all about money, it's all about wealth, it's all about abundance and things that bring comfort to our lives. Moving on to the third house, that's going to be Scorpio. For you, it's about communication. The things you say and the things you don't say. How do they affect you? How do they help you grow? How do they hold you back? What are things that you need to say so you can move forward with your life? If you're a Scorpio rising and you have not been communicating honestly and truthfully, the thing about Capricorn is Capricorn does not hold any punches. It is what it is. Capricorn is the ultimate true blue zodiac sign. Capricorn represents father time in astrology. Think about your dad. Dads don't give a shit about your feelings most of the time. The facts are the facts. And when the facts are not making sense, Capricorn is going to have an issue. This is why Capricorn will disappear from your life as soon as you start confusing them. Because when you start confusing them, they know you're not sincere. They know there's no honesty and authenticity in you. And when they realize that, they distance themselves from you because they really value authenticity, much like Aquarius, although it looks different. Essentially, it's about having substance. So if you are a Scorpio rising and substance is not something that you have valued in the way that you communicate, this is going to be a time for you to observe that. It's also a time for you to observe how your communication style helps you become a better leader or helps keep you out of positions of leadership. Because Capricorn, again, is about the advancement of the community. So Capricorn is all about power, but not for the sake of power, but power for the sake of making their community better, starting with themselves and their families. Libra, for you, it's going to be issues with your home, your family. It may be an issue with you setting boundaries. Capricorn is a zodiac sign that stands on business 100%. They don't care how people feel about their boundaries. They respect them and they honor them. And Capricorn is very big on respect. They don't associate with people that have no manners and that are disrespectful for that reason because they like things to be done correctly in a structured, organized, clean fashion. And when there's chaos, when there's disrespect, when there's drama, when there's mess, that's a huge turnoff for them. So, Libra, if you have not been establishing healthy boundaries in your relationship with your family, with your home, with your mother, with your sisters, these things are going to come to the surface. And if you've been doing it, but you haven't actually been nurturing yourself while doing it, this is also going to come to the surface. A lot of times, people who grew up in toxic home environments, like myself, when they get older and they realize that their family is toxic, they're like, oh, I have to get away from them, which is fine. Great. That's a good solution. First plan. Let's put a physical boundary between me and my triggers, or me and the source of my discomfort or my pain. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, when they leave their family, the work that is needed to really unpack how that toxicity has affected them as a human being and how some of those patterns continue to show up in their friendships, in their romantic relationships, in their ongoing relationships with their family. Many people are not willing to invest that time to do that work. When I used to work as a therapist, we had a term for that. For a lot of people who leave like the north and they would all migrate to the south thinking that, oh, my crazy families in Boston. I'm going to move to Florida. Life will be better. And what happens is they bring all the toxicity that they learned from home to Florida, and then they find themselves in the therapist's office talking about their family issues that are in Boston, because they thought just moving would be enough. Boundaries are good, but boundaries, when we put them in place, we maintain them and we defend them. And what makes it easy to maintain and defend them is because we understand why they're there. So refusing to unpack the hurt that your family brought you only sets you up to repeat it. And Capricorn is not with the foolishness, so it's going to be exposed to you in a very, very kind of clear way. So you have to understand how you're contributing to your own demise, because Libra is naturally an abundant zodiac sign. Moving on to Virgo. Virgo, for you, it's time to really reconnect with hobbies. It's time for you to have fun and get back into a joyful spirit. Do you have hobbies, Virgo? Besides work and sleep and cleaning your home, do you have things that you do that bring you joy? Do you have activities that you engage in that you find fulfilling? Do you have outlets for you to express your feelings? If not, this is a beautiful time to start getting into something. Maybe there's something you used to do before, back in a day, that you enjoyed that you haven't done recently. It might be good for you to explore some of that again, because you know what, Virgo? You work the hardest out of everybody and you play the least. And unfortunately, what you don't realize is when you neglect play, you become very grumpy and mean, not just to other people, but to yourself. So, this is really an opportunity for you, Virgo rising, to heal your lack of self compassion by prioritizing joy. Because if you were deliberate about making time to fill your heart with things that make you feel good, you would be kinder to yourself. And as a result, you would not be, as insensitive towards other people's needs. So, it's really about making sure that you are prioritizing your health and your work. So it's both. So we have time for soothing ourselves and then we have time for output. Okay. Moving on to Leo. Leo, you're going to be having a lot of revelations about the status of your mental health and your emotional health, Leo rising. If you haven't already, for most of us, what the full moon brings is this very clear resonance about truth that we've been denying. For many of us, we shouldn't be surprised by anything that happens because we've been feeling this energy since the spring. This is just it being crystallized for us and the universe letting us know there's no wiggle room out of it. It is what it is. We're either going to face the truth, adjust our behavior by embracing maturity and discipline and hard work, and commit ourselves to the process and knowing that life is change and that's what's required to manifest our dreams. Or we're going to be punished for refusing to learn lessons and refusing to make changes. It's one way or the other. Saturn is very black and white. Saturn is the planet in our solar system that has the massive rings around it. When looking at the structure of Saturn itself, it's very evident that Saturn is very rigid. It is actually the slowest moving planet on its axis. And, as you may or may not know, but Saturday is named after Saturn. We have to work 5 whole days before we get a weekend. Saturn only rewards you for hard work, and that work and that reward takes a long time. So you have to work for a long time before you get a reward. This is why Saturn is very punishing. So when Saturn gives you a job to do, they give you all the time to get it done, and they give you all the reminders to get it done. So when they punish you for not doing it, it's never going to feel like it's coming out of left field because nothing happens so fast that you miss the memo. How are you feeling? Are you enjoying the content so far? If so, I've got more great content for you. My main YouTube channel is called Intuitive Healing. There, I teach general information about astrology. If you wish to use the secrets embedded in your astrology natal chart to manifest the life of your dream, you want to follow my Astrology Weekly podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify. I produce weekly episodes. It also has a corresponding YouTube channel called Astrology Weekly Podcast that you can follow, and make sure to turn on the notification bell. If you want some hands-on support with manifestation, you can join my manifestation group on Patreon. It is a free group, however, some of the posts are only for paid members. If you wish to incorporate healing crystals into your manifestation process, you can go to styledunder.com to shop your favorite sustainable fashion accessories and healing crystals. And lastly, remember to follow us on social media at Intuitive Healing on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads. And on Facebook, we are at Styled Under. So stop by, subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, and be social. Thanks for watching. Now on to our next segment. Moving on to Cancer. Cancer rising, it's time for you to look at your relationship, your partnership, your marriage, or your cohabitation situation. How is it? Is it healthy? Is it working for you? Is it promoting your development? Is it allowing you to establish a sense of autonomy in your life, of balance, of control? And if not, it's time to examine the ways in which you have allowed that environment to become what it is. And if you no longer like it, you can decide to leave that relationship and go at it alone, because a lot of times you attach yourself to people out of fear that you're going to fail on your own. When truthfully, as a cardinal sign, you're a leader, just like Capricorn. Capricorn is father, Cancer is mother. A mother can raise a household without a father. In fact, there are plenty of single mothers here in America. We even had one who raised a president. It's possible for a woman to lead without a husband, but Cancer will often default to others because of insecurities and self-esteem issues that they don't want to address. So this is going to be a time of reckoning, unfortunately for you, if you fall in that category. But if you've been doing really well with setting your boundaries, being clear about what you want, asserting yourself in your relationship, and not being controlling to the point of harming others, then this may just be an opportunity to reaffirm the need for you to be, independent, the need for you to be into your self-care and to be intentional about setting time to nourish your soul. Moving on to Gemini. Gemini, for you, this falls in the 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of Scorpio. It's about life and death. So you're going to be dealing with a brutal ending of something. Unfortunately, sometimes things that fall in the 8th house can mean physical death, but more often than not, it's more of a spiritual death. As you know, Scorpio is constantly plagued with having to let go. Is because sometimes the attachments that we have to things in the physical realm don't actually help us develop. So if you're Gemini rising, this is an opportunity to see how your personality
brings about situations that cause you to lose money and to lose respect for yourself and within your community. The eighth house, much like the second house, is about money. But the difference is the eighth house is about power, okay? And power comes from within. When a Gemini rising does not have the personality traits that lend to being someone that is respected and that is powerful, they start being destructive. And unfortunately, destruction for the sake of destruction is not what Aquarius is about. Aquarius destroys so something better can be built. So it's time to analyze the ways in which you play into your own self destruction, the obvious ways in which you do so, the ways in which you keep yourself from having access to resources and support, and how can you do that differently. Moving on to Taurus, for you, it's falling in the ninth house. So it's about higher learning, it's about spiritual learning. If you haven't been invested in learning more in your field, this is a good opportunity to see how that perhaps may be hindering you from promotions. This may also be an opportunity for you to get a little bit deeper into your faith, your spirituality. The ruler of that house is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is very big on the spiritual realm. Sagittarius is a sister of Gemini. Gemini rules the physical realm, and Sagittarius rules the spiritual realm. So, Taurus, when they're healthy, they have a very good sense of timing because Taurus is an earth sign, also ruled by Venus. A healthy Taurus moves when the vibe is right. An unhealthy Taurus likes to force things because of their insecurities and ego issues. So sometimes they like to flex just to prove that they can run through a wall. But a smart Taurus is not going to waste their energy running through walls if they know that tomorrow the door is going to open for them. So this is an opportunity for you to see, how can I become more self-disciplined so I am being led from within as opposed to letting my ego lead me to my goals. It's about staying the course. It's about being slow and steady. And it's about trusting that if you keep doing the right things every day, eventually you get what you want. Moving on to Aries rising. Aries, this is an opportunity for you to focus on your career. Where are you with your career? Are you fulfilled with it? Are you happy with it? Do you like your public reputation that you have in your community with your job? How are things there? Do you feel supported? Do people see you as a good leader? Do they value your input? Do they value your bravery? Do you feel that you are sitting on your throne? As you know, Aries is a leader in astrology. So if you don't feel like a leader at work, you don't feel like a leader at home, and you don't feel like a leader in your community, then something has to change, because this is an opportunity for you to assess how you have been doing leadership and how you have been creating situations in your life that basically bring you down a path of losing power. The 10th house is ruled by Capricorn. Capricorn has a huge ego, much like Leo. So, whatever is going to be revealed to you over the next couple of weeks is going to be done so in a very brutal way, because, much like these other two signs, you also have a huge ego. But the thing about ego is that we're supposed to manage it. All of us have an ego. And when we're talking about ego death, we're not saying that you won't be with an ego. We're saying that we're not living from our place of ego, but rather we're living from a heart space. So we feel inside, and whatever our heart or gut tells us, that's what we vibe with, that's what we flow with. And when we do that, it's easier for us to respect other people's boundaries and respect our own boundaries. But when we're wrapped up in ego, we lose sense of our sensitivity and other people's sensitivity, which obviously doesn't lend to good leadership and respect and self-respect particularly. So Aries, this is going to be an opportunity for you to assess, how can you affect your reputation in a positive way so that you can be who you say that you are, and without having to boast and pretend to be something that you're not. Moving on to the 11th house, it's going to be Pisces. For you, this falls in your friend group. It's an opportunity for you to examine your friendship and examine the way that your friendship are going right now. Are there some people that you consider friends that are not good for you? Pisces rising, are there some people that you consider friends that are not allowing you to develop, to progress in life, and to become a better version of yourself? You often attract a lot of leeches and a lot of people with woe is me stories. And unlike you, Capricorn is not very fazed by woe is me stories, because Capricorn knows that all of us have the same opportunities every day to take control of our lives. All of us have the same 24 hours every day to accomplish whatever we want. Capricorn knows that people do what they want and people do what matters to them. And Capricorn knows that people's actions always speak people's actions always show their hand about what they value and what they prioritize. So Capricorn doesn't really get into their heart space when it comes to examining people's behavior, because they're very objective and pragmatic and strategic. And remember, they're an earth sign, so their feet are going to be on the ground about who people are. This is why they're not really with the BS, because they know it is what it is. If you want to do it, you will. If you don't want to, you won't. That's the end of it. But Pisces can easily get lured by people's stories. And unfortunately for Pisces, people love to deceive them because people see them as gullible. And usually they're the last one to know, or sometimes they know, but they act like they don't know. So, Pisces, if you have been struggling with setting boundaries with friends, friend groups, if you've been struggling with your level of social awareness, participation in public culture and, humanitarian efforts, if you've been struggling with remaining optimistic and hopeful in the face of a lot of the issues that the world is having, this is an opportunity to examine who brings you that energy of positivity and hope in your life and who does not. And then you need to make some decisions. The thing about Capricorn is when they figure out what's not working, they have no problem letting it go because they know God sent them here to be the best version of themselves. A lot of people get attached to people because of their feelings. Capricorn doesn't get attached because of feelings. Capricorn gets attached because of purpose. So when my purpose is aligning with your purpose and we're traveling down the same journey, we're attached. But once your purpose becomes detrimental to my life and my well-being, then we have to go our separate ways because your journey is no longer a part of my journey. Which leads me nicely to Aquarius, which for you, this falls in the 12th house. This is going to be a time for you to face some endings. You're going to be dealing with some deaths, some endings. There's going to be a wonderful opportunity here for you to engage in healing. It's time for you to close some major karmic cycles. You're going to notice your spirituality is going to get deeper. You're going to need to spend a lot more time alone over the next couple of weeks, because karma is also your ruler. You're ruled by both Saturn and Uranus. So a lot of thoughts about like old age, about death, about dying, about the afterlife, about, things that you've been hiding from yourself, about your subconscious mind, about lies you've been telling yourself about, who you are and what you are, limiting beliefs. A lot of insecurities are going to come to the surface. For you, this is a beautiful opportunity to heal aspects of yourself that are not in harmony with Saturn's energy. And Saturn's energy is serious. It's about accountability, responsibility, staying the course, even when it gets hard, moving slowly, doing it well, doing it for the long haul, and trading short term pleasure for the long game, for the success that comes at the end of the long, hard road. And that is the message of Saturn. So if you have not been disciplined, which sometimes Aquarians can struggle with, because unlike Capricorn being ruled by Uranus, they also yearn for a lot of, exciting energy. Aquarius being ruled by Uranus likes experimentation. They like fun. They like energy. Remember, Aquarius is like lightning, the sister of Leo. They're both are big into light. Leo is the sun and Aquarius is lightning. So because Aquarius brings a storm. So if you haven't been disciplined with controlling the storm that is brewing inside of you, unfortunately, what you will see is its negative impact in your life is going to spill over into areas that you haven't considered, and you're going to be forced to accept a change that you have not been willing to deal with. The best way to manifest with this full moon is to journal. I would recommend journaling. I would recommend journaling about your dreams and journaling about habits and patterns that you're becoming aware of that are keeping you away from your dreams. And because this is an earth sign transit, I would encourage earthy activities like walking on grass, going hiking, going in the woods, cooking a meal, anything that makes you feel grounded, that makes you feel homey, that makes you feel earthy. Maybe it's eating salads over the next couple of weeks. It's about coming back to yourself in the most natural, animalistic, primal way. Capricorn is very primal. They're very animal centered. Capricorn is very aware of their animal side. So it's important for us to kind of bring back together our spirit side and our animal side so we can see ourselves more fully. What a full moon essentially does for us, the gift that it brings, is that it illuminates for us our shadows, our darkness, our insecurities, our blocks, our negative toxic patterns that keep us stuck and unfulfilled and unhappy. And even though sometimes that information can be painful, flip side of that is that it presents us with a beautiful opportunity to now receive information we didn't previously have and incorporate that into the way we do life so we can now generate different results. And that to me sounds hopeful. I would much rather have the information and the opportunity to do something new than to continue living in darkness and in misery. So let's go ahead and shed away what no longer serves us. That's people, places, and situations that keep us stuck in old cycles. It's time to cut cords. It's time to end things. It's time to disappear. It's time to withdraw. It's time to let go. And it's time to burn it all down to the ground. Remember, this whole experiment with life is a matter of recycling energy. In order for something new to be born, we have to destroy something. This is our opportunity to learn what needs to be destroyed. That's the question of the day.
That's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Astrology Weekly podcast. Head over to our YouTube channel at Astrology Weekly and subscribe. You can join our private manifestation group on Patreon at Intuitive Healing. You may also purchase a confidential astrology reading on Patreon if you would like to have more intimate time with me. I provide individual as well as relationship compatibility readings. I'll catch up with you in 2 weeks for another podcast.